Have you ever wondered what really separates the most successful people in companies from everyone else? You know, it's not just about what they know, or even what they build. The secret catalyst, the real magic, is something way more fundamental. It's a powerful web of relationships, these strategic alliances, and, crucially, ethical influence. So today we're going to break down how these three things connect to build a foundation for success that actually lasts.
Okay, let's just get right into it, because we have to talk about the elephant in the room, right? So many of us spend years, years, honing our skills, getting the degrees, building a killer resume, only to feel like we're losing out to somebody who just knows a guy. And look, that's a totally valid frustration. It makes you ask this exact question: shouldn't my qualifications be the only thing that matters?
I think this comment from a Reddit user just absolutely nails it. This isn't about your skills not mattering. Of course they do. They're your ticket to the game. But when a hiring manager is looking at a dozen equally qualified people, they're looking for a tiebreaker. And that tiebreaker is trust. Networking isn't some unfair shortcut. It's the work you do to build that trust and familiarity. It's how you go from being just another piece of paper to being a person they already know they can rely on. So to build that kind of trust, we really need to change how we think about networking. It's time to ditch that kind of awkward, cringy feeling of just collecting contacts. And instead, we need to unlock what we're going to call the connection advantage.
Okay, so here's the core shift in mindset, and it's drawn from the work of Yermi Kurkus. On the one hand, you've got transactional networking. Think of it like a vending machine. It's cold, it's impersonal, and the only question is, what can you do for me? But on the other side, you've got transformational networking. This is all about building a real human connection. The question changes completely. It becomes, how can we build something genuine here? And that small shift, well, it changes everything.
And this quote just brilliantly illustrates that point. The best-selling author, Fawn Germer, reminds us that even the most powerful, successful people out there, they're tired of being treated like a vending machine. They just want a real connection. Her goal isn't to collect contacts, it's to build a network of friends. Because at the end of the day, who do you help? You help your friends. It's that simple. All right, let's take this idea and build it into a really powerful framework for your own life and career. I want you to stop thinking of your network as just a random list of contacts in your phone. Instead, think of it as a carefully chosen advisory board. Let's talk about how to build your own personal board of directors.
Seriously, just imagine it. Imagine having this hand-picked group of trusted advisors, like a real corporate board, but they're dedicated entirely to your growth. This isn't about having hundreds of connections. It's about having the right connections. It's about the quality and the diversity of the wisdom you can tap into. This inner circle, it becomes your secret weapon.
So who do you put on this board? Well, researchers have actually identified 6 key roles you need to fill. First, you need the expert. That's the person who brings you new information. Then the power player, who can mentor you and open doors. You absolutely need the challenger, the one who's not afraid to give you the tough feedback you need to grow. Of course, you need the supporter for that crucial personal encouragement, the purpose giver, who reminds you why your work matters. And finally, the balancer, who helps you keep it all together. Just think about it. Do you have all these roles covered?
And look, as leadership mentor Yvonne Cohen explains, the value of this group is just immense. This inner circle isn't just for celebrating the wins. No, it's a vital support system that's there for you during the tough times too. It provides the guidance and feedback that builds your resilience and helps you succeed, especially when you're facing those inevitable career challenges. Okay, so now let's zoom out. We're going to go from our personal inner circle to the world of big business, because the exact same principles of trust and mutual value apply when whole organizations team up. Let's get into the art and science of forging strategic alliances.
All right, so what exactly is a strategic alliance? Well, according to the expert Peter Simoons, it's basically a team-up. It's when 2 or more companies cooperate to achieve something huge that none of them could really do on their own. You know, think about Philips and Sara Lee creating the Senseo coffee machine, or Starbucks partnering with Pepsi to put their Frappuccinos in bottles. These are total game changers.
Now this is where things get really interesting, because the stakes here are incredibly high. This represents what Peter Simoons calls the 80% rule. Get this. Research shows that 80% of partnerships that are just thrown together, that are unstructured, they fail. But, and this is the amazing part, companies that use a structured, methodical approach, their success rate jumps to 80%. That is a massive difference. It proves success here isn't about luck, it's a science.
So why would a company even do this? What are the big drivers behind these successful partnerships? Well, they usually boil down to one of 3 things. First, knowledge transfer. Getting access to a partner's patents or know-how. Second, market development, reaching a whole new set of customers you couldn't get to before. And third, efficiency. Basically, using a partner's existing systems instead of having to build your own from scratch.
Okay, so we've talked about building our personal inner circles and these big formal partnerships. But what's the engine that actually makes it all work? Well, it all comes down to the psychology of influence. Understanding these principles is what turns a simple contact into a really powerful connection.
So, the psychologist Robert Cialdini famously laid out these 6 universal principles of persuasion. They are such powerful ideas. Let's just quickly run through them. Number 1, liking. Simple, right? We're way more likely to say yes to people we actually like. 2, reciprocity. We feel this deep need to give back when someone gives to us. 3, social proof. We look to see what other people are doing to guide our own actions. 4, consistency. We want to stick with the choices we've already made. 5, authority. We trust the experts. And number 6, scarcity. We just want things more when there's less of them.
And here's the most important point of all. These principles, they're tools. They are not tricks. As psychologist Jessica Kohler points out, they're incredibly powerful. But with that power comes a real responsibility. Ethical persuasion isn't about manipulating people. It's about using these ideas to build authentic trust and to create real win-win situations. That's how you build a reputation that actually means something.
And that, right there, brings us completely full circle. After all the strategy and psychology and frameworks, what is this all really about? Well, speaker Greg Peters just sums it up perfectly. At its heart, effective networking is just making friends. On purpose. You're strategically building these relationships, not just for yourself, but so that you can have a bigger impact and actually make a difference.
So as we wrap this up, I'm going to leave you with one final thought to take with you. Looking at your own life, your own network, through this new lens, with all these principles in mind, the big question you need to answer now is this: who are you going to invite to your board?